Thank you for that lovely introduction. And before we begin, what normally would be a 45-minute presentation condensed into 13 minutes, as only a fast-talking New Yorker can do, I wanted to share something about me with you. I am often introduced as a nutritional medicine practitioner, the one who likes a bit of coffee and wine. I'm not ashamed of it. I wonder if anybody out there likes a little bit of coffee, wine, and chocolate. I knew you were going to be my people. So here's the thing. What we know is there is a way to health without hassle. And nutrition shouldn't be a land of no or deprivation. I want to share with you today immunity, motivation, and mental well-being. It's all in your food. I love the emerging science that's happening, particularly right now in COVID, where we are looking at food as preventative medicine. Let's take the next 13 minutes into 3 different parts. Part number 1 is what is currently going on in 2021 in the consumer world. Number 2, let's talk about nutritional truths. Number 3 is let's wind up with takeaway messages that will not only improve your well-being, but perhaps plant seeds for you in your industry. Besides COVID, there's something else going on. There is an itis, an inflammation that is happening worldwide. I like to call it fridge-itis. It is when we are working from home and our home desk might be a little bit too close to the fridge and the fridge seems to constantly be calling us. Anybody out there have that? Now, there's another syndrome that was happening far before COVID, and you may not recognize the syndrome's name, but you may recognize the symptoms. You get into bed, you're exhausted, you're smashed from the day. And all of a sudden, you're lying there and this monkey chatter starts to happen. Your list begins to grow. You're thinking about the laundry, the KPIs, the flower stocks. You're thinking about everything. Did you feed your dog? And the next thing you know, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. You're tossing and you're turning. You wake up in the morning and you are now languishing so badly that you can't even get your coffee into your coffee cup. The tired but wired syndrome, TBW. It's happening everywhere. And sleep, my friends, is one of the biggest parts of well-being because sleeping has a direct knock-on effect to how we eat and nourish ourselves, our ability or desire to exercise, our ability to stress hack, our ability to communicate effectively, to think creatively, and to do all of the things that we want for true well-being. What's happening with millennials and Gen X? They've been pushing for this for a long time. They've been pushing move over pharmaceuticals, bring in functional foods, and have those functional foods nourish their brains, their bodies, and their emotional well-being. There is such a push in this area that it is estimated by 2025 that this industry of functional foods will be worth $275 billion. But even before COVID, in 2019, there was an exponential increase of 32% in this area of functional beverages and foods. Why? How can we use food to improve all of those things? We're going to talk about it. But here's the other thing that consumers know. They're getting smart. You cannot exercise your way out of a bad diet. And what's interesting is consumers are not overly concerned about a few COVID pesky kilos, but what they are concerned about and what they really are curious about is this. How do they use food to improve their immune system and improve their sleep? And what they're mostly curious about is this. How can they use food and nourishment to help with mental health? Anxiety, depression, and mood disorders. They're silent, they're scary, and they're spiraling. But what we do know is this, there is evidence-based randomized control trials called the SMILES trial, how aptly named by our very own Australian Deakin University. The world has a spotlight on this study. Why? Because conclusive evidence that dietary improvements can improve the risk factors for this highly prevalent mental disorders. Boom. Even if it's 1%, we can be winning with our fork. How does all of this happen? How does food make this way into improving our health? I want you to glance down on this slide. Go to the left bottom corner. Underneath functional foods, I have the word gut. Food we consume, it moves to our gut. That gut biome, that gut bacteria has an absolute direct effect on your weight, your mental well-being, your immune system, and your energy. If your immune system is compromised, guess what? You're not going to have energy, productivity, or motivation. No, you're going to be stuck trying to figure out how to build that immune system. In fact, food has an influence on all of these things. Sleep, heart, thyroid, all of your organs, your physical body, your memory, your concentration, your brain, your neuroplasticity, your hippocampus. How about that? Not just that, your mood, your self-esteem. And if you're talking to your kids, always appeal to the vanity aspect on how food has a direct influence on your hair, your skin, your teeth. And definitely if you're talking to young men, throw in the word testosterone because you will absolutely have them locked on. So here's the thing. What is the best diet in the world? How do I do this, Michele? Eat real whole food in a combination of fats, protein, and smart carbs. Fats. Why? It's excellent for your brain health, dampens down inflammation. Inflammation is a key predator in depression. Protein. Why? Amazing for your immune system, and it keeps your blood sugar from spiking. Grains and carbohydrates, move over carbohydrate phobia. Grains are coming back into vogue. Why? They contain vitamin B for energy. Vitamin B plus tryptophan is what creates serotonin in the body. But notice how I put strategically the rye sourdough bread in that photo. Why? New emerging science. Watch out, people. The postbiotic. It is going to become so trendy. It's going to be like the Meghan Markle of biotics. Everyone's going to want to know more about it. Now, the science is emerging hot and fast on how this kind of biotic is essential or wonderful for the gut biome and well-being. So watch this space for the emerging science on this. But we have a lot of science, and we've had a lot of science about this, the effects of hidden sugar on our mental and physical well-being. We've known for a while. The World Health Organization says maximum amount of added teaspoons of sugar in our diet should be 6 a day. Most of us, even the healthiest of us, are having more than 30. How can that be? Because marketing is very, very clever with making things look healthy, appear healthy when it's not. For example, this healthy honey light yogurt, 6 teaspoons of added sugar. This innocent chai latte, cloves, cinnamons, 10 teaspoons of added sugar. Cereals, vitamin waters, muesli bars with 8 teaspoons of sugar. Smoothies, very healthy smoothies with 22 teaspoons of added sugar in one smoothie. Do you want to talk about a sugar roller coaster, a mood roller coaster, an energy roller coaster? This is what happens. The energy rises from the sugar rush. The insulin spikes. The blood glucose goes spiraling. The sugar decreases, and then all of a sudden we are exhausted. We are moody. We've gone from gorgeous to grumpy in 30 minutes. Then what happens? We consume more sugar. Long-term effects, weight gain, hormonal imbalances, inflammation, and more. In fact, let's move on to this, nutritional facts. not fiction, nutritional facts. What happens here is the gut biome, this beautiful gut of ours, all of a sudden has sugar, trans fats, additives, preservatives, junk food come in and create disruption in the gut biome. And all of a sudden, all the bad bacteria go, yeah, we're going to have a party because you give me so much sugar. And it creates something called dysbiosis. Dysbiosis appears like this. Burping, farting, painful tummy, IBS-like symptoms. If that's not enough to scare you, listen to this. It is our gut biome where we create 95% of our serotonin, our happy hormone, the very thing that we want for good moods. Sugar truths. Sugar depresses our white blood cell count, the very thing that we need to hold off colds, flus, and viruses. Sugar can give us feelings of tired but wired. We talked about that syndrome. Anxiety, depression, and mood disorders. Sugar also has a very big impact on inflammation in the body, an enormous impact. Messes with our hormones. This photo depicts how sugar leads to or may have connections to type 3 diabetes, Alzheimer's, and dementia. Watch that space. We also know that sugar drives cholesterol and triglycerides like no other food we consume. Woo! A lot of you are saying, I love that information, Michele, but that's a lot. Give me the key takeaway messages. Okay, deep breath. Ready? Immunity, energy, mental well-being. How are you going to get it? Let's move to real whole foods as often as possible. Let's move on from carbohydrate phobia. That's so silly. We need those carbs to build our adrenals, build our thyroid health, the vitamin B's in them, and don't forget about that beautiful postbiotic bread, the sourdough rye in particular. But while we're talking about grains, I want you to consider the new emerging grain that I think is going to be the Meghan Markle of grains, and it's called lupin. Lupin has an incredibly high fiber. Yes, I said the F word again, fiber content and protein content. Why fiber? Great for biodiversity of good gut bugs. Move over sugar. Let's look at these two new plants that will replace sweetness. One is stevia and one is monk fruit. They are going to come out at your industry hard and fast. There will still be a place for probiotic, prebiotic food, coconut yogurt, kefirs, and things like that. Again, all around the gut biome. Yesterday in Australia, our leading health magazine, Body and Soul, had yours truly on the front cover with a story about 15 foods that you should have in your refrigerator. I don't know if you can see the whole cover, but the bottom says, quote, yes, and it includes chocolate. Of course it includes chocolate. I wrote the article. I love dark chocolate, and I can talk to you about the antioxidant benefits and millions of benefits. So still, please embrace that dark chocolate. And please consider this. This slide depicts these things: sunshine, sleep, hydration, and exercise. All the pillars of well-being. If you do all of those things, then perhaps along the way you can enjoy a bit of coffee, wine, and chocolate. Maybe not all together, but hey, whatever floats your boat. If you forget everything that I say, please pick up a copy of my latest book, Eat, Drink, and Still Shrink, A Joyful Guide to Living. If you have any questions from today, and I do mean any at all, please reach out to me, take a screenshot of this, and ask me anything. And if you'd like a copy of today's presentation, please screenshot the QR code and enjoy. Thank you all very much.